About 2 years ago, I've always had high blood pressure, and my mother has high blood pressure, and my two sisters have high blood pressure, and it's a genetic trait, essential hypertension. And we've been on a blood pressure pill for a number of years, 15 plus 20 years. And but my blood pressure spiked up to 180, 190 over 110, and I didn't understand why. So I went to my primary care physician, who's an excellent doctor, and we did lab work, and my cholesterol was fairly good, but my fasting blood sugar was 147. So we came back the next week, retested, it was 145, and did an A1C, which helps diagnose diabetes, and it was 8. So anything above 5.9, getting to 6, and you start thinking of insulin-resistant diabetes or type 2 diabetes. So here I found out I had type 2 diabetes. I went to some education on 2 different occasions to hospital for diabetic education and how to use a glucometer and test your blood sugars and things of that nature. So as a consequence, I started trying to learn what can you do, exercise and diet and things of that nature. I had a nutritionist who was really big on health and foods, and talked to her some. I ended up going to China. It seemed like everything happened at once, and then I went to a meeting to learn about women's hormones, invited by a pharmacy here I've been referring patients to for a number of years. And it was amazing that I saw all this research data on things about high blood pressure, about diabetes, about women's hormones, about a lot of things that were there. And so I signed up to do a fellowship and complete an anti-aging and regenerative program through the University of South Florida. So since that time, I started, eating right. I started cutting sugar out. I was an ice cream addict and a love popcorn addict. I drank Diet Cokes and things of that nature. And so I started gradually seeing my A1C came down. It came down to 6.5, from 8 to 6.5, which is fairly good, and lost some weight, maybe 15 pounds, and tried to make those changes. After learning what I did in my fellowship program, I learned all about the botanicals and all about nutrients and minerals and so many things that affect diabetes. It was amazing. So subsequently, started using supplements, including taking magnesium twice a day. Most of us are low in magnesium. A lot of diabetics are low in chromium, low in vanadium, things I really didn't know about vanadium. And learning how powerful green tea is. We all hear about it, but it's such an important antioxidant, which means it attacks the free radicals, and it can bind to the free radicals, therefore they can't damage you. And that most of your type 2 diabetes starts in the liver, and your abnormalities in the liver. And as a consequence, it wasn't so much a pancreatic disease in type 2, but a liver disease, and according to my eating habits. I started taking omega-3s. Omega-3s are huge, and they're anti-inflammatory. My cholesterol started coming down, my blood sugar is coming down, and I had a heart CT scan last week, and I have just two minor areas of calcification in 2 different vessels. And they checked my A1C, and it's down to 5.8, which is now in the normal range, though we all look at diabetes as something you can't be cured of. But through the supplements that I talked about, and I take a number of supplements, I just want to share with you now that alpha-lipoic acid, for one, things that help the liver to heal, antioxidants, a lot more antioxidants, and I try to watch my diet, but I'm not, as you can see, the skinny guy and lost all the weight I need to lose. And of course, you need to increase exercise, things without which I haven't done that much of. But I really believe the supplements, the omega-3, the vitamin D, the antioxidants, have been a real major key. And then getting appropriate minerals in my body so that that my sugar and my insulin can work appropriately. So I'm rechanging my insulin resistance to where my insulin is is sensitive now, and my insulin levels come down to normal too, which is usually really high in insulin-resistant diabetes. I want to share one other patient I had that had real high triglycerides, like I had genetic hypertension. He had genetic high triglycerides and cholesterol. His triglycerides were 499. His cholesterol was in the upper 300s. Could never get it halfway normal on different medications like statins and things like that. And I have him on a program including some of the things that I've talked about, but niacin is a real extra thing that he takes in regards to it really helps with triglycerides as well as your cholesterol. But his triglycerides now are 65, and his last cholesterol test was total cholesterol was 135, and he's just ecstatic and can't believe, because he always thought he's just going to die from heart disease. And he has been eating right. He exercises every day. He's very, very healthy. But he needed these nutrients and supplements to help him in his body to fight his hypercholesterolemia or hyperlipidemia, and to prevent him from hopefully having a heart attack or stroke.